by integrating the sense of touch in tactile devices. From Black Mirror to Westworld, many series are centered around dark themes examining modern society. They bring a critical outlook on how human beings use new technologies and how it influences their lives. In its latest season, HBO's Westworld is no different. The TV series, which is set in a Western-themed amusement park filled with conscious androids, premiered here in France on OCS on March 15th. And it seems to have a more linear plot this time around, as our correspondents in LA explain.
I was born into this world, and my first memories of it are pain.
Westworld depicts a futuristic theme park where robots look like humans but are equipped with artificial intelligence.
Welcome to the end of the game.
They are tortured, reprogrammed, and manipulated by humans until science fiction author.
Science fiction affects science by altering what people think might be plausible. Plausibility comes before possibility.
Former Google employees say Star Trek was the inspiration for smartphones and virtual assistants with voice command.
Library computer.
Photograph cutters.
A lot of the folks in Silicon Valley were raised by Star Trek. So they wanted the communicator phone before it ever existed, and therefore they made it come to exist.
Futuristic movies of the 70s and 80s have greatly influenced innovations we use today. This museum collects vehicles of the future as imagined by the cinema and television industry. The famous KITT car, driven by David Hasselhoff in Knight Rider almost 40 years ago, anticipated autonomous cars and connected watches.
Do you wish further information on Silicon Valley?
Hell no, I want to know who you are and how you're listening in.
KITT was really good because it used a regular car that was, modified, similar to the Back to the Future DeLorean, and showed a lot of the technology that we expect in cars today. You can make phone calls from the car, which was way ahead of its time.
Of the largest robotic distribution in history.
Nowadays, movies and TV shows predict our cohabitation with
dans le siècle passé. Hein. Pensons à Hitler, pensons à Staline, pensons à Mao, etc.
So, a good example of a visionary sci-fi writer is, of course, George Orwell with 1984. It was a criticism of dictatorships as often back then. Now, you argue that today dystopia aren't focused on dictatorships, but rather on topics such as climate change, resource depletion, and pollution. So, is it the new bad guy today?
La dystopie s'est diluée, on peut dire, dans l'air du temps, hein, même s'il reste des dictatures militaires, pensons à la Corée du Nord par exemple, mais la vraie dystopie, c'est la manière dont on vit aujourd'hui et dont on nous fait vivre. Aujourd'hui, il faut consommer, consommer et consommer, hein, il faut changer de smartphone toutes les années, de bagnole toutes les années, et puis là-dessus vient effectivement la fameuse interconnexion dont on nous rabat les oreilles, avec tout est connecté, bientôt il faudra obéir à son frigo qui nous dira ce qu'il faut acheter, etc. Et puis vient aussi là-dessus, effectivement, les changements climatiques, mais là c'est encore une dilution dans la dilution, parce que même s'il n'y a plus beaucoup de climato-sceptiques ou alors de parfaits idiots, c'est quand même le capitalisme qui vient là-dessus pour nous dire consommer, 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 et plus on consomme, plus on dégrade l'environnement, quoi, voilà. Donc on peut dire qu'on est mal parti.
Jean-Pierre Andrevon, thank you very much indeed for that.
Eh bien, c'est moi qui vous remercie. Au revoir.
And in the wake of COVID-19, Steven Soderbergh's 2011 movie Contagion was unexpectedly propelled into the UK's iTunes Top 10. Same thing in the United States and here in France as well. Many tried to watch the movie, but it was suddenly taken off Netflix, prompting some to think the platform was instructed to do so to avoid people panicking, an accusation the tech giant denies. Well, let's now turn to our in-house expert, Dhananjay Khatolkar. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Julia.
So there's actually another notable movie that portrays a similar outbreak that was released exactly 25 years ago.
Yes, the movie was called Outbreak, and it was released in 1995. It essentially depicts the spread of a deadly viral fever that originates in a monkey and is then transferred to humans. The main plot of this story essentially runs along the hero who is racing against time to find a vaccine. Now, there was another movie, or one of the other movies that depicts a pandemic. It's a South Korean movie called Flu, and it's the story of a fictional virus, which essentially is a mutated form of the avian flu.
Now, some books, I'm thinking about The Eyes of Darkness, for instance, are describing in details the type of outbreak that we're going through now. I mean, in this particular case, the outbreak starts in Huong.
That's right. The Eyes of Darkness has created a sensation on the internet because of this eerie similarity. As you mentioned, the virus that's referred to in the novel, it's called Wuhan 400. And in fact, one of the characters in the book, he reasons why it's called so, because it was developed at the rDNA labs outside Wuhan. That's the line from the book. Now, the internet is also, or there are a lot of discussions on the internet about the name Wuhan 400, because apparently in the earlier versions, there was the name Gorky 400. It was changed later on. But yes, there's this eerie similarity. But other than that, the nature of the viruses and the disease are completely
a bit different. Thank you very much, Dhananjay Khatolkar there. We're going to move on now to Test 24. HapU2 aims to integrate haptic technology and tactile interfaces in several sectors like the automotive market, manufacturing, IT, and smart home products. Oh, so what on hell is haptic technology? You're probably asking. Dan, we're turning to you. What is new haptic technology?
Well, at the heart of this technology is the piezoelectric effect, which essentially is the characteristic of certain substances which, when physically deformed, produce electricity. Now, the technology used in this particular device is the inverse piezoelectric effect, so in which the electric potential is turned into a mechanical displacement, which is then associated with frequencies of ultrasonic vibrations, and that's what you feel when you touch it. So just to give you an example, as you mentioned, it has a very important application in the automotive sector. That's because imagine this is a part of your the dashboard screen, and normally in normal touch surface on normal touch surfaces, you have to take your eyes for a moment to look at what you're doing if you want to change the intensity of the air conditioning, for example. So your eyes are off the road for a moment, so that could be dangerous, so that could be risky. But in this case, it's very intuitive. All you have to do is, for example, if I want to change the temperature, If I move my finger in a circle, it will automatically
Right.
detect that it relates to
So
the
you don't have to look
temperature.
down.
Exactly. So
Right.
if you move it in a linear fashion, here you see it's the intensity of the fan. So it also depends on the movement. And the idea behind this technology is, of course, to reproduce these sensations, these customized sensations under your fingertips, which is not possible on a normal touch screen. That's because whenever you touch any normal touch screen, it's the same in any part, and it's the same sensations you get. So this is the advantage of using the piezoelectric effect in this.
So if I were to touch, for instance, like a fish, you could do another, show us another example. If I close my eyes, I would actually feel like I'm petting a fish, or how would it work?
Well, just to give an, there are some demos created by Hap2U, and since you're very keen on the sensations of a fish, so here I'm touching the scales and I'm feeling the feedback. Each scale has a different output. So I feel that I'm moving it on a different surface. And if I touch the other part, it's a different sensation.
Right.
So it's all customized, it's all personalized. You would really feel it.
It's taking the tactile experience a little bit further. Thank you very much indeed for that, Dhananjay Khatalkar. It brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech 24, but you can watch it again on our website, france24.com. See you soon.